Western Illinois head coach Joe Davis. The team coming off a victory over Valparaiso. 51-30 was the winning score there. This week they're back on the road. They're going to be at Eastern Washington, the Inferno, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 6 Central, ESPN Plus. Coach, thoughts about your team, and we'll go to some questions.
Really positive night for our program, for our campus, for our community. I mentioned to our downtown athletic club earlier this week. I think that was probably the one of the bigger home crowds that we've had in my short tenure here. 6,000-7,000 people there at Hanson Field. Huge barbecue festival and competition and big tailgate and a lot of the community out to support us in campus. So just awesome for our players, proud of them and excited that they had an opportunity to experience that. Certainly needed some confidence just after the first couple games, just being on the road with two Big Ten teams and still trying to find out kind of who we are a little bit. But, we really challenged our players throughout the week to get back to the foundation of our program, and that's running the football and stopping the run. And I think it was evidence on that first drive, the offense to go down there and to have an 85-yard drive that was all running the football. Defensively really was very solid with our first unit there through about 3 quarters. And in fact, I just was the first time that I just saw the final stats. I know that there were some issues with statistics and things like that on Saturday night. So, to have 300 rush yards and 51 points and, just a lot of positives for our team and excited to head out west here for a huge competitive game against a great tradition-rich program in Eastern Washington.
Thanks, Coach. If you got questions, let me know down in the chat, and I will call on you. Before somebody else asks, we're going to use this in a little piece this weekend, Coach. Red Field. Tell me about playing on the Red Field. Just one of the more unique places in college sports.
Yeah, I mean, love the fact that different college and high school teams, can change up the color of their turf. I think it provides a little bit of nostalgia. I think it provides some interest, nationally. This will honestly be my first time playing out in Cheney, Washington. I've had the opportunity to coach against Eastern Washington a couple times and Coach Best, one when he was an assistant. I was at Northern Iowa back in 2015, and we got into a shootout. I told my staff and players in that particular game, Eastern Washington had Cooper Kupp and Kendrick Bourne on the outside playing wide receiver. And you talk about, guys that are still in the NFL catching passes, Pro Bowl kind of receivers. Boy, it was hard to stop them that day. We ended up prevailing. And then when I was at Fordham, they actually came all the way out to New York City and beat us in New York City. I think it was Coach Best's first season actually as the head coach. So familiar with their program and certainly familiar with their stadium and the color of their turf. And again, be a great opportunity for our kids to travel and big road test for us here early in the season.
Thanks, Coach. We got let's go BJ and then Caden. BJ, go ahead.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Hey, Joe.
Hey, BJ.
This is the first time I've done this, man. You always talk about balance, and a lot of football coaches want that offensive balance, and you preach it. But man, could you get any more balanced than you were Saturday against Valpo? That was really something.
Yeah, I mean, strive for that every single week. I say as an offense, we call ourselves an advantage-based offense. I mean, we're willing to do whatever it takes to win the game. If you got to throw it every snap, you got to run it every snap. But obviously balance is the best, and be able to have complementary plays and complementary formations and have the players buy into that and execute that, I think was exciting to see, and boy, it was nice to have Markel Holman kind of break out. I've mentioned him a few times. We're kind of waiting on him and just tough to get him going there in the first couple games. But, I think he finished with 130-some yards rushing and had the 49-yard explosive run there on the first drive. Was just a huge positive to kind of break the ice, so to speak. So yeah, that balance was awesome to have and certainly hope, it's something that we can stay consistent with throughout the season.
On the defensive side, can you point out some guys that really kind of caught your eye during that first half, which was very dominant?
Yeah, I think our safeties have been playing at a pretty consistent level. Even in the first 2 games when maybe the scores weren't really reflective of competitiveness. Buju and Malini Tia are both veteran kids. They've started a lot of games at this level at different programs and have really provided some stability on the back end that maybe we didn't have last season, just in terms of tackling, preventing explosive plays, getting us in the right checks defensively. So really, really happy with those guys. You know, I mean, when it comes to stopping the run and our early defensive success, you know, I think Payne Miller has been a real bright spot for us here in the first few games. You know, redshirt freshman, very highly recruited player out of our state here. And, you know, weren't sure exactly what his role was going to be. We knew that he was going to be somewhere in that interior D-line rotation, but man, is he big, is he strong, he's twitched up on the inside and just has a tremendously high ceiling, I think, as a defensive tackle at our level. So, you know, those are a few guys I think that stood out amongst others on Saturday night on the defensive side of the ball.
My last question, Kyle, looking ahead to this weekend, both teams finished 4-8 last year. Both teams were an offensive show, put a lot of points on the board, and both teams struggled to defend, and they gave up a lot of points. Do you see the same kind of similarities this year with Eastern as you do with the Leathernecks?
Yeah, boy, I don't know that, and I'm sure Coach Best would probably echo this as well at Eastern Washington. I don't know that either team really has a firm identity yet. You know, I mean, they went to Boise State in week 2, who's, you know, obviously a very high level FBS program, and you know, tough to win there in Boise, and have lost two close road games. You know, their quarterback was out last week, so I'm sure that they made some tweaks, you know, just to try to maximize the talent that they had. So yeah, I don't know that I can answer that accurately. You know, I know traditionally, boy, I mean, Eastern Washington is traditionally been among, you know, the most prolific offenses in the country for, you know, the better part of a decade or so. They lost some guys in the transfer portal, just like we did, that are, you know, on FBS rosters now. They probably are a little bit younger on defense than maybe they're used to, but boy, they're athletic. They're long, they're fast. They got great length on the defensive line. They're extremely multiple from a defensive standpoint. That just it's given a lot of people problems in the first 3 games. You know, offensively, both quarterbacks that they've played are exceedingly athletic. They very much have hung their hat on the quarterback run game, quarterbacks extending plays, and had multiple opportunities on Saturday to beat Northern Iowa at the Unidome, and penalties took touchdowns off and missed field goals and things like that. So we're fully anticipating walking into a buzzsaw on Saturday of a team that's probably frustrated and feels that their record should be different, and they certainly have the talent to match it.
All right, Coach, we'll see you on the bus and the plane.
Thanks, BJ.
We'll go Caden next. Go ahead, Caden.
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Caden.
First question, what leaps did you like out of Chris Irvin from the first 2 games to this one against Valpo on Saturday?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing you noticed, I mean, we gave him a chance to play football. You know, I mean, we gave up 1 sack, but you know, Chris was able to get in the pocket. He was able to step up in the pocket. He you know, was able to make throws without getting hit. We made some plays down the field for him from a skill standpoint, and he ended up finishing really efficient. You know, I think 13 of 18 or something like that for you know, about 280 total yards, and he had a couple nice runs in there. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of the Chris Irvin that we expect. You know, that's the standard of playing quarterback here at Western, and we have seen him play like that in scrimmages and practices and games and things like that. So, you know, big for our program from a confidence standpoint, but I think just great for Chris too to be able to go out there and have the opportunity to just operate, you know, our offense consistently there for about 3.5 quarters.
Now, what's the adjustment on the defensive side? I know that Bradford's going to be out for a significant amount of time. I know that you mentioned yesterday at the athletic club meeting, it was the next man up mentality. I guess, how do you adjust to that?
Yeah, boy, I mean, Peyton Bradford's a huge loss. You know, I mean, for us, 2-time captain, and just really a vocal leader, leads by example, a guy that really embodies player-driven leadership, you know, on our football team. And don't know the extent of his injury, how much time he's going to be out, but it's going to certainly be a little bit of a while here before we get him back. So, yeah, I mean, from a leadership standpoint, I don't know that you do replace Peyton Bradford on the field. You know, what I know about him is that he will continue to lead us just as he did when he was healthy. I mean, he will be vocal. He will hold players accountable. He will be an encourager and a challenger. Peyton Bradford, you're around him for 5 minutes and you're inspired by just the way that he lives and talks and the way that he works. So, you know, I don't know that we'll see any drop off, you know, from Peyton. He'll be around our team, you know, thick and thin. You know, the defensive end room, I continue to believe is a strength for us, you know. Still waiting for those guys to break out a little bit. Boy, I mean, we looked the part. I mean, Jalen Revens, all a 6'2", 285. Had some flashes last season where we thought he was a really high level edge player in this league. You know, Jalen Nichols has maybe about as high a ceiling as anybody on our defense. Just a young defensive end that, you know, has had a few moments here early in the season. I've mentioned DJ Taylor, you know, was involved in some hurries and things like that Saturday night. And then Elijah Congolo, you know, got his first start Saturday night, you know, another redshirt freshman, just a big, long, rangy edge player. So there's some talent there on the edge. You know, we just got to get those guys to come together and step up and then as coaches, you know, be able to schematically free them up, you know, and let them play loose and pin their ears back and you know, stop the run and punch out the quarterback. I mean, that's the mantra a little bit of our defensive line. So excited to see those guys work and you know, obviously it will be a big challenge not having Peyton on the field.
One more question, Coach. Your team had over 300 rushing yards against Valparaiso. How do you keep the ground and pound game moving into this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's a belief, you know, it's a belief in our program that running the football is the foundation of our offense. We say it's the number one pillar. You know, we will establish a physical run game using all 11 players, you know, on the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, searching for that consistency week to week running the football is it's a big challenge, you know, with these remaining 9 games. I mean, defensively, everybody will be very well aware of what we're trying to do. And you know, it's trying to stay patient a little bit with that run game too. You know, I think great offenses have some patience with establishing that run game. So big challenge for us, but certainly something that we'll be focused on week to week, regardless of opponent, is figuring out ways that you know, we can effectively run the football as an offense.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck at Eastern Washington this weekend.
Thank you.
Coach, appreciate your time. Best of luck. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thanks, Kyle.